Hello, it's me. Oh wait, shit, fuck. I knew something was weird. Hello. The hell? Alright, so we're good. My name is Jacob Davidson. I'm from North Texas, and I run the Legal Layman channel, where I try to learn the law. I really gotta figure out my intro. It's not that creative. So I got a fun announcement. I got someone I'm going to be interviewing tomorrow, which is fun and fancy. I'm going to be bringing on one Charlie Love, who wrote a article yesterday about, or didn't write an article yesterday. I read the article yesterday about diversity, equity, and inclusion toxicity, or the toxicity of that program. So I'm gonna be bringing that person on to have a conversation about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And there was a plane overhead. There's a lot going on right now, I think. Probably should have picked a better time, but oh well. So yeah, let me pull up his profile real quick and show off Charlie Love, so everybody knows who I am talking about. Shit, everything's fucking going off. I'm just waiting for the page to load. My OBS is probably in an alright state. Where is it? Where's that article? Toxicity of DEI. DEI. DEI toxicity. Okay. DEI toxicity. Alright, so finally, since I'm able to show it now, this is Charlie Love, or rather, this gentleman right here. The toxicity of DEI from Newton, Massachusetts. Are the new charges in the Breonna Taylor case justice or mob appeasement? This man has a very particular take, and I am for it. Not a lot written, though. Yeah, that's Charlie Love, I guess, for more channel aspects. What's up? But yeah, I'll be doing an interview with him, or a conversation, whatever, tomorrow at 4:30 p.m., which is 3:30 his time. Wait. Is that right? We'll have our time figured out by tonight, and then I'll have the interview scheduled for tomorrow. I'm very interested in getting his opinion on everything. Mega Man Battle Network. Newton, Massachusetts. The mayor and the school board administrator, or chair of the school board administrator, are bitches. Oh, fuck. That was rough. Yeah, nothing happened there. So I'm kind of sorting things out. Thought I'd be ready by the time we got to this. Hold on. Likers. Man, I'm so tired of looking at LeBron James. I really hope he loses. What? Okay. What were my topics again? I've lost track. Hello, I'm totally professional now. Alright. Fort Worth fun. Yes. Something fun happened yesterday while I was in the middle of my stream. I learned about a Fort Worth drag event that had a bunch of protesters that a bunch of Antifa members went to go harass. So I don't think I have any more personal updates outside of maybe not streaming on Thursday, but I haven't normally streamed on Thursday the past week or so. I'll sort out the interview with Charles Love, and we'll get to talking with him. And yeah, I think that's about it for now. I'll figure the rest out later. Let's get into the topics. Hopefully I'll have enough to fill in 3 hours of time. Three people arrested after protest group apparently clash outside a Fort Worth drag show. At least one person was handcuffed by police officers outside of a drag show in Fort Worth on Sunday afternoon, according to videos posted on Twitter. Police have not commented on anything that led to the detentions during a protest and counter-protests outside of the event. Police records show the three people were arrested. Samuel Folks, 20, on suspicion loud noise. Aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Christopher Gillett on suspicion of assaulting a peace officer, and Megan Grant, 37, on suspicion of resisting arrest, search, or transport. The incident happened outside a drag show at Fort Brewery and Pizza at 2737 Tiller Street. Man, why do I get to miss all the fun protests? Where is this at? Huh. Damn. Videos on Twitter suggest the three people were with the Elm Fork John Brown Gun Club, an organization that often describes itself as a group of defenders and whose members are regularly found counter-protesting at drag shows. The club describes itself on Twitter as helping marginalized communities and organizing community defense against white supremacist fascism. Videos of police detaining people who came out to defend a drag show at Fort Brewery and Fort Worth. Gun club and by anti-LGBTQ group Protect Texas Kids will not comment on why it said it's being investigated. At the event Sunday, organization Protect Texas Kids, whose Twitter account says its purpose is to expose kid-friendly drag shows, a child transition, and leftist indoctrination in the state of Texas, was protesting against the drag show. The John Brown Gun Club on Twitter has accused police of attacking drag defenders and practicing poor muzzle discipline with long rifles pointing loaded guns at at club members. In one video, a Fort Worth officer says, "Cool, I flagged all of y'all," after counter-protesters accused him of doing so. The video seems to show the officer possibly inadvertently aiming the gun at the group of members of the group while slinging it around his shoulder. Police did not respond to a request for information on whether or not the department was concerned about the muzzle discipline or why the three people were arrested. Protect Texas Kids, a new Colombian movement anti-LGBTQ organization whose members were at the drag show to protest it, accused members of the gun club of pepper spraying anti-drag protesters while they were praying. Authorities have released no information about whether they believe that claim is true. This is a developing story. For latest updates, sign up for breaking news alerts. John Brown would not have been a fan of Michael Foucault or Herbert Marcuse. They are Antifa. They are, though. Thank God for them. Thank God for police, or thank God for the people? Oh, and in case you're curious, here's the video, I believe. Right, I gotta turn my sound on from the Twitter side and on this side. Let's hear what this has to say. Unmute.
Back up!
Okay.
Fine, we can take care of it later. Back up! Stay over there! Get back! Get back! Back up! Back up! You're under arrest! You're under arrest! You're arrested! Get back! Get back! Fine.
She tried too hard. You can tell that's a she. Hold up, before I go into this, I'm gonna pull up camera just in case something pops up. Fort Worth. Drag. Alright, yep. Alright, back to it. Got the video that I wanted. This is the supposed police flagging.
What's wrong with y'all?
Why are you flagging me, sir?
You are. You're flagging. You're flagging.
Okay, cool. I flagged all y'all.
No! That...
Okay, cool.
Badge number now. Give it. Badge number. Thank you. And you who shot the guy on the ground, give me your badge numbers. You too. What's wrong with y'all?
Why are you flagging me, sir?
You are. You're flagging. You're flagging.
Okay, cool. I flagged all y'all.
Okay, so that thanks, article. Thanks for that very important distinction. What's it? In one video, the video seems to show the officer possibly inadvertently aiming. Cool, I flagged. You need to. Oh my god. Hold up. Hold up. Camera back here. James Hartley. James Hartley. Breaking news, start Telegram. Your verification just dropped. Okay, cool, fine. I'm gonna mute the desktop sounds. Okay. No, I didn't. Keeping the accusation, he capitulates. Saying, okay, cool. I flagged all of y'all. Important to get the quotation right if you're gonna quote. Alright, so this guy misquoted somebody in a video. That's great. Love it. At least the officer was willing to identify himself without much hassle. Alright, so for anybody who wants to hear it again.
What's wrong with
Why
y'all?
are you flagging me, sir?
You are. You're flagging. You're flagging.
Oh, wait, fuck, wait, no, sorry. I was not supposed to show that. Ah! Rip, I did not mean... Oh, god damn it. No one knows any of who I was trying to message. No one. No one. That did not pop up. Fuck. Ah, damn it. My bad. That was a gaffe on my part. Oh boy. Fuck. Well, I feel bad. Hopefully nothing happens out of that. Hopefully that's just a small gaffe that's on my part and nothing else. Hey, ignore that. Drink some tea. Dragon's Treasure, Code Layman. Good tea and scotch that's out of his budget. So that's the fun Fort Worth story. It was very short, but it's very close to me, so it gets primacy. Wall Street Journal, an opinion by Gerard Leval. Progressives convinced us to get a gun. It's hypocritical to urge Americans to disarm while also failing to protect them from surging crime rates. Right. Right. I forgot about this one. I forgot that this was a... Oh, God. I didn't get this figured out before stream started. I forgot about this whole thing. Oh, fuck. My stomach. I'm going to close the page, and then I'm going to reopen the page. I really want to read this article, but I don't want to pay the money for it. How does this whole fucking thing work? All right, I'm gonna sign up for it. and then cancel it basically right away. Subscribe with Google, I guess. Fucking fine. Just this one. I'll figure out how to get behind the wall. Alright, everything's checking out. Right, password. Get the payment method area ready. Wall Street Journal is doing everything to not collect my money right now. It's kind of frustrating. Alright, ladies and gents, you ready to hear my card number? I'm about to read it out loud. $8008135. They're not about to take a big fucking chunk out of my money, are they? Make sure I reread this. $1 per week. cancel anytime. Bill is $6 every 4 weeks for 1 year. So, bill is $4 every 4. Oh, $4. Alright, okay. Okay. I can drop $4. I don't care. I say that after making strenuous attempts to not pay $4 for however long. Skip and complete membership. Scan a QR code and download. Skip and continue. Skip and continue. Skip and continue. I look dumb as fuck. If anybody's watching on Rumble, tell me if it caught up, please. Because I have... No, there we are. Yep, took Rumble a little bit, but it finally got there. Saying stream ended, but it didn't. I'm still streaming right here. All right. What's up? Right, gonna reload here real quick. Get back to that screen. Pull all these up. Yeah, I gained a new follower. Sweet. Alright. I will read again because the disconnection happened right as I was reading that. Progressives convinced us to get a gun. It's hypocritical to urge Americans to disarm while also failing to protect them from surging crime rates. You can tell it's a Getty Images or stock photo because the guy has poor trigger discipline. When I was growing up on the south side of Chicago in the late 1950s, almost every boy had one treasured possession: a holster with 2 6-shooters. It was the essential toy for playing cowboys and Indians, the most popular game in town. Regrettably, at the time, my brother and I didn't get in on that fun, for our father wouldn't allow it. Our father wouldn't allow it. He had his reasons. In depriving us of the revolvers, he often would cite us experience from World War II. Our father served in the French army, and as a member of an artillery regiment, fought the Nazis when they marched into Belgium. During that service, a rifle shot grazed the back of his neck and came close to taking his life. He made it clear that, having been wounded and seen the horrors wrought by firearms, he didn't believe anyone should think of such weapons as playthings. So this wasn't a father telling their kid, you're not allowed to have guns. It was, it's not a toy. Though as a child I sometimes resented not fitting in with my friends, I grew to accept that firearms were a terrible device that didn't belong in our lives. As an adult for many years, I supported banning guns among civilians, even contemplating the merits of repealing the Second Amendment. But some months ago, my thinking changed again. Today, my wife has a gun that she keeps in her home. She has the necessary permits from the authorities and has trained extensively in using the gun safely. Growing up, I never imagined I would have a firearm at home, but I am reassured to have one, even if I've never held it myself. Our decision to acquire a gun is due to the recent release of the man who bludgeoned my wife's younger sister to death several decades ago. My wife fears that the murderer released from prison during the COVID-19 pandemic by New York State Board of Parole possesses a potential threat to us. You know, I'm surprised she was able to get a firearm and all the permits for it, considering she lives in fucking New York State. But our decision also is due to society's current dysfunction. Crime is surging in our city, Washington, and around the country. Vagrants wander the streets, police are reluctant to tackle criminals, and courts seem unwilling to impose serious sentences on those who break the law. Given these circumstances, owning a gun seems to be one of the few ways to feel even a semblance of personal safety. There is an irony that policies progressives espouse, such as gun control, have prompted us to have a gun in our home. Progressives nationwide have attacked police and law enforcement, alleging that our legal system is systematically racist and oppressive. They have caused recidivist criminals to haunt our streets and commit more crimes, and have refused to deal with homeless in spite of the mental illness and drug addictions that so often afflict our city's most vulnerable. Numerous efforts to reduce the use of drugs have been rebuffed in the name, of course, of racism. The approach has unleashed a crime wave and diminished our sense of safety on the streets. It is therefore unsurprising to see more law-abiding people seeking to arm themselves as a result. Or rather, arm themselves. As a result, there will be more guns out there, including in the hands of people who should never be near them. To limit guns in America, much as my father wished, policymakers should focus on the underlying problem that are generating a spike in crime. It is disingenuous and hypocritical to argue that Americans should disarm themselves while at the same time depriving them of their protection against those who would inflict a kind of anarchy on us. Society can't thrive if it won't stand up for itself. The absence of such protection will merely lead people to take up arms themselves. This is what is happening to our family. Once vigorously anti-firearm and now reluctantly in possession of one. The ultimate concern is that a steadily arming population will someday use those weapons in civil conflict. It would be wise to stop undermining our citizens' security and thereby avoid such a dire fate. Mr. Laval is a Washington lawyer and author of Lobbying for Equality, Jacques Godard, and the Struggle for Jewish Civil Rights During the French Revolution. Huh. It's a very good take. I respect this from Gerard Laval. Wonder if I could find him on Twitter. I've done enough damage there. There. Let's go to Twitter. Gerard Laval. All right. Let's go. Even if crime... That's not what it said in the article, is it? No. Alright, I'm gonna bring up the Twitter thread on this because I think it's actually pretty great. I've done enough damage. There's no depth to which Wall Street opinion will not stoop. They've been doing this for decades. Rupert Murdoch bought it. Wow, it's almost like allowing people to express themselves is kind of the point of the media. Just gonna put that out there. Is this a quote from the article? Just kind of, you know, support the people that I agree with. What is hypocritical is politicians who have the power to end poverty, 2, pass universal health care, 3, support unions, 4, control costs of housing, 5, expensive wars, 6, improve public schools, thereby reducing crime, then whine about their need for guns to protect versus crime. Are you asking for a dictatorship? That's how you get a fraction of that. I agree with getting out of wars. We should not be fighting. A part of personal responsibility once again struggles with personal agency. Next month, progressives made us do war. This is what is happening to our family. Once vigorously anti-firearm, now reluctantly in possession of one. The ultimate concern is that the steadily arming population will someday... The thing these guys understand is that there's a whole lot of us going on in progressive sides. They think they're the only ones with agency. The man is... represented by protection or by liberty, and the obvious answer is to revolt. I know I'm spending a little too much time in the topic, or in the Twitter. Are they talking about now or when Giuliani was mayor? Because while overall crime has increased here, show that 5 boroughs are still far safer now than they are back in Comstat figures. I don't believe any of these dropping crime rate statistics. That's not possible. Anyway, that's probably it for that topic. Wall Street Journal's progressives convinced us to get guns. That they did. That they did. Now, to those of you watching on the YouTube side, you'll see a little fancy thing called Get the Latest Information from CDC about COVID-19. Do not do that. They don't know shit. I joke, they might know some stuff. They might know a thing or two about the situation of the disease in the country. I just, they probably, I wouldn't trust their knowledge set, but sure. So I will say this, and I will look for a couple more sources to back this up. To back up this whole thing. COVID. Vaccine. And tinnitus. This is not me saying this. This is an article saying this. And I'm just reading an article that seems to be what everybody else says. It's just an idea and not a fact. I'm not claiming it's a fact. The COVID vaccine could have links with causing tinnitus as a new theory emerges. New theory. Theory, YouTube. It's a theory. It's an idea. A hypothesis, YouTube. YouTube, it's a theory. Doctors and scientists have to think about something and try it out. And you gotta share that idea before you can actually test it. Look at the key, YouTube. Look at the key. While there's no proof yet that the vaccine caused the hearing conditions, there are now theories which have surfaced among researchers. Here's what you need to know about tinnitus and the cause of the condition. There could be possible links between the COVID-19 vaccine and tinnitus, according to research. Tinnitus is a condition in which occurs when a person hears sound that comes from inside their bodies rather than from the outside source, often described as a ringing in the ears. While there is no proof yet that the vaccine caused the hearing condition, theories have surfaced among researchers. A Facebook group called Tinnitus and Hearing Loss Impairment After COVID Vaccination convinced researchers to look into potential links. If this is not real, this is a great hoax. The group, which currently has 4,000 members, has said in its description that they are pro-vaccine, and the page is for people who believe they have developed tinnitus or a worsening of tinnitus after receiving the COVID vaccine. This also includes those who have developed hearing loss, hyperacusis, or the other related issues, it added. Associated Professor Xiaowen Bao, a longtime tinnitus sufferer and a representative of the American Tinnitus Association's Scientific Advisory Board, surveyed 398 of the group's participants. The cases were severe, as a one man told Mr. Bao he could not hear the car radio over the noise in his head while driving. Participants also reported a range of other symptoms, including headaches, dizziness, vertigo, ear pain, anxiety, and depression. Significantly more people first developed tinnitus after the first dose of the vaccine compared to the second, according to the survey. Mr. Bell said the findings suggest that the vaccine is interacting with pre-existing risk factors for tinnitus. If you have a risk factor, you'll probably get it from the first dose, he said. These results are still being analyzed and have not yet been published. NBC News reports that Center for Disease Control have received over 16,000 complaints from people over tinnitus or ringing in their ears after receiving COVID vaccine. However, CDC said it did not find any data suggesting a link between COVID vaccines and tinnitus. What causes tinnitus? NHS website says the cause of tinnitus remains unclear, but can often be linked to hearing loss, diabetes, thyroid disorders, multiple sclerosis, depression, Meniere's disease, and medication side effect. A ringing in the ear, a buzzing sound, whooshing, humming, hissing, throbbing, or music or singing. Hell yeah, buddy. Not up. There we are. Sorry about that. I just realized. Ah! Alright, let's fucking go. I just realized ad read time. With code Layman, you can get 10% off of the Dragon's Treasure, which is a haven for anime and tea lovers. That means 10% off of Butterscotch Holiday Tea if you want to become members, or if you want to become a member. Sebastian's Morning Grey, or Morning Earl Grey, this Ingenuity tea strainer, the tea kettle. What I have been drinking for the stream. Did I lose it? That is a question. Did I lose it? No way, I lost it. No, I didn't. It's right here. Iroh's Legacy from the Dragon's Treasure. It is a green tea with jasmine flavor. It has been my favorite for the past months or so. Past few months. It has been a great way to drink some caffeine, some light caffeine, while trying to get through the day. It is very good tea. I've loved it, and I have not regretted any of the purchases. In fact, I am waiting to get another set of tea. I've got the Magic Girl Venus that I'm going to be getting soon. I got Magic Girl Venus is an herbal tea right here. I got some of that Morning Earl Grey, or Sebastian's Morning Earl Grey. And I got two packs of the custom sample pack. That'll give you 5 packs of tea to try out. Oh damn it, I'm an hour in. Remember, code Layman for 10% off code Layman will get you 10% off every purchase, teaware, merchandise, and tea itself. I cannot suggest this guy. He is so good with making tea. You will not regret buying even one pouch of it. Though try the samples. Try the samples. It'll help you figure out what your favorite type of tea is. Alright, let's get on to this one. Preacher threatened with jail time after citing Bible verses against local Oklahoma LGBTQ organization. Rich Pinkowski says he felt moved by God to oppose pride events with children. There's a theme for the week, and it's children pride events. An outspoken preacher is appealing to Oklahoma Supreme Court after he was slapped with a 5-year restraining order that threatened him with jail time if he speaks out in opposition against the local advocacy groups. Rich Pinkowski, a pastor who heads up the online organization Warriors for Christ, has protested drag shows for children nationwide, told Fox News Digital that he believes that the restraining order is unconstitutional and could herald a legal precedent that could chill the speech of Christians. Okay, I'm curious now. Pinkowski. I've been preaching against this kind of stuff for years when it first started in libraries, he said. Of the drag queen story time for children, we've been telling people it's going to get worse if we don't do anything, and that's where we are. Pinkowski said he was invited by a church in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, to preach outside a local pride event last fall after other local churches failed to speak out against it. Rich Pinkowski. Restraining order. Document. Rich Pinkowski, Washington, D.C., pro se. Oklahoma. Ugh, more of that. Oklahoma TRO document. Where to find Oklahoma judicial orders. Case processing. Party name Rich Pinkowski. Pinkowski? Shit. Pinkowski also posted a public photo of a same-sex wedding of Sheena Hayes and Morgan Lawrence Hayes, who's executive board president of Bartsville chapter of Oklahoma of Equality, or it should be more equity. According to court documents reported by the Christian Post. Hold on. I mean, the restraining order might be fair here. Street preachers fights restraining orders after Bible to condemn lesbian wedding. I mean, unless he was like out on the street, not in their face, it's not. But if he was in their face like an entire time, then yeah, the restraining order might be proper. In his post, Pinkowski referenced Bible verses condemning homosexuality, including Romans 1:32, and although they know the ordinance of God, those who practice such things are worthy of death. They not only do the same, but also give hearty approval to those who practice them. The pastor also cited Matthew 18:6, which quotes Jesus saying that whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, it would be better for him to have a heavy milestone hung around his neck and to be drowned into the depths of the sea. In a police report filed by officer with ties to Oklahomans for Equality in Bartsville, the couple felt threatened and harassed by Pinkowski's social media posts, according to a local outlet. The report claimed he made references to bestiality during a sermon at the Pride event, which he denies. In February, Washington County District Court Judge Linda Thompson granted a couple of 5 years protective orders against Pinkowski after they claimed that they felt unsafe because the pastor, according to Rutherford Institute. Pinkowski made two additional posts in which he expressed his disapproval of several Pride events in Bartsville. In one post, he criticized local discipled Christian church for sharing photos of children celebrating Pride Month last June. In the other post, he claimed he aimed to disprove a statement made about an LGBTQ leader claiming during the city council meeting that no adult-oriented entertainment, obscene or sexually suggestive performance took place at a pride event, which Penkovsky maintained to be false. Penkovsky, who has a sizable social media following, said he posted a video of the leader's statement intercutting the footage of a drag queen near children during the Pride event. The video, which showed a drag queen grabbing his crotch and gyrating it in front of children, was pulled from both Facebook and YouTube for being obscene, he said. Penkovsky, who has children ranging from 2 years old to 20, felt moved by God to oppose drag events involving children. He said he has received multiple death threats, that his property has been vandalized during his legal battle with the LGBT group. John Whitehead, a constitutional attorney and president of Charlottesville, Virginia-based Rutherford Institute that is representing Penkovsky, told Fox News Digital that the pastor's case is definitely about free speech. They agree that the restraining order against Penkovsky is vague and overly broad. Whitehead said Rutherford Institute, which represented Paula Jones in her sexual harassment claim against former President Bill Clinton, took on Penkovsky's case because they believe it could set a dangerous precedent that could chill the speech of Christians or anyone else who publicly opposes LGBTQ ideologies. I think what they're saying is citing the Bible verses could be a crime at a certain point in the United States, the attorney said. Both Penkovsky and Whitehead told Fox News Digital that his case is likely the first of its kind. Other Christians have messaged me and they said, as far as we can tell, you're the first Christian in America to be threatened with jail for posting Bible verses critical of same-sex marriage or drag shows, Penkovsky said. Whitehead, who founded the Rutherford Institute in 1982, said Penkovsky never threatened violence against his accusers, and that Penkovsky's case is symptomatic of eroding freedoms in the United States. The First Amendment is the sole survivor of America, and what I'm seeing in America today with all the wokeness and political correctness is that people are too afraid to speak. Free speech is so important. It raises critical thinking and makes people think and maybe reconsider some of the things that they're doing. So I think people like Richard Penkovsky are very, very important in our society, he added. Whitehead said that he believes that if Penkovsky fails in his appeal, the First Amendment is dead, which he believes would open the door for persecution, obviously. He quotes what Jesus Christ says, okay? If that's a crime, then we're in a bad state in the country, he added. Richard Penkovsky. It was a district court judge, I believe. Washington County District Court judge. Oklahoma? Oh, fuck. There's so many Washington counties. Oklahoma, Washington, District Court case. Look up. Pinca Richards. Thomas Linda. Thomas Linda. When did this happen? Kuska said. Fine. Oklahoma restraining orders. No, this is bullshit. That's not gonna help me find it. This is also not gonna help me find it. Oklahoma protective orders. God, I wish I knew how to navigate these things. Here's a link to map for finding. Criminal jail traffic violations. Ugh. This is not what I was looking for. Fuck off. Shit. Right, hopefully. Alright, I'm going to try this out, see how this works. John Whitehead, constitutional attorney. Charlottesville, Virginia. That does indeed. Yeah. I was looking at the case of your client, of who I believe is your client, Richard Pinkowski. If it is possible, could you help me get access to the restraining order against the individual? Much appreciated. There we go. Just tap on monetizations and settings. Hold up. Hold up. Am I able to monetize my fucking Twitter account with Blue? More settings. Monetization. Bonus content for your most engaged followers. Check eligibility. So I'm 478, 488. No, yeah, 478 followers away from being monetized. That's interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, back to it. Chicago's Lori Lightfoot slammed over crime pivot following ousting. Too little, too late. Of course, I might be misreading this whole document, but it might have... Maybe I might be wrong about it. I'm not entirely sure. Hopefully it means what I thought it meant. Chicago's outgoing mayor Lori Lightfoot urged Democrats to speak the truth on violent crime. Lori Lightfoot appeared to make a pivot on her ultra-progressive stance on violence, urging Democrats to speak the truth on surging crime across the country. But critics say her shift was too little too late, as her successor, Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson, is set to be sworn into office next month. Retired Chicago Police Lieutenant John Garrido accused Lori Lightfoot of refusing to take accountability for the Windy City surging crime under her leadership during a Fox Friends weekend. Too little too late, Garrido told co-host Rachel Campos Duffy on Sunday. If you listen to her entire speech, there she doesn't take any accountable whatsoever. She still blames everything on Kim Foxx and Judge Evans. Chicago Mayor-elect Johnson has doubled down on sanctuary city policies despite migrant busing furor. I assume she's probably jockeying for a type of position, maybe some point, and maybe Biden gets involved and gives her something. I'm not sure exactly what she's looking for, but she's definitely always likes to point the finger at everybody else. He continued. It's always everybody else's fault. Even when she's lost an election, it was somebody else's fault, not her own. But she created the toxic work environment that we have now that's creating thousands of officers to leave every year. While speaking on the panel at the African American Mayors Association Conference in Washington, D.C. on Friday, Lightfoot called on Democratic mayors to address the growing crime in their cities. As a Democrat, if we do not speak the truth about violent crimes in our city, or in our cities, we will be the worse for it, Lightfoot said. I come to this conversation as a former federal prosecutor. I came to this as a former defense attorney. I'm the sister of a returning resident, Lightfoot continued. But I know that there are people in my city that are wreaking havoc every day and need to be off the streets. That's reality. Ironically, many critics cite the surge in violence under her leadership as a key reason for her ousting. According to data from Chicago Police Department, a motor vehicle theft has spiked 168%, murders have soared 82%, aggravated battery is up 36%, theft is up 29% this week in 2023 in comparison to the same week last year. Meanwhile, the process is underway for the city to select a new superintendent for the police department after Lightfoot's pick, David Brown, stepped down back in March. Chicago Mayor-elect condemns teen takeover chaos but says it's not constructive to demonize youth. It is actually constructive to demonize them when their actions are worth demonizing. It's important to also then forgive them if they make efforts to change from their demonized activity. This is a soft approach. This is too soft. You need to create order in some way, but you need to have a firm foot. But you also need to give grace afterwards. You cannot just give grace. Condemns teen takeover, but says it's not constructive. Isn't this after like a group of them beat one lady who was trying to get into a restaurant or something? Since Brown's resignation, interim superintendent Eric Carter also announced that he would be resigning ahead of Johnson's swearing in. While the process will supposedly include more public opinion, Garrido noted that decision is still ultimately up to the mayor. This is the first time we've had this type of commission put together, Garrido said. Garrido, I assume, actually. It'll be interesting to see how they come together to come up with somebody. They're actually going to have to go. They're actually going to have town hall meetings to try to include public opinion. At the end of the day, though, the mayor still gets to make their decision if they want to take those selections or not. He continued. Back when Rahm Emanuel was in, the police board actually made the recommendations and he discarded it and made them go back to the drawing board until they picked the one he wanted. Johnson narrowly won against his moderate opponent, Democrat Paul Vallas. Earlier this month in a runoff election, he is set to be sworn in the office on May 15th. Fox News' Houston Keene contributed to this report. So Fox News also talked about some of the stuff. So in every efforts, so we've been seeing news about, people getting arrested for harming people that have just been doing innocuous things, the shooting of Ralph Yarl and the, Caitlin? I forget her name. Damn these people. Caitlin. Neil? I know it's Caitlin something. Kaylin Gillis. Kaylin Gillis. So we've been seeing people get shot for innocuous things. Kaylin Gillis is one of them. Ralph Yarl. Some other people. Oh, fuck. And now this. Oh yeah, that family from New Carolina where they found the guy in Florida. Florida police declines to make arrests after neighbors shot at grocery delivery car. A man opened fire after feeling threatened by a driver's actions, police said. The driver was justified in an erratic escape. Police in South Florida said they will not charge a neighbor for shooting at a car being used by a grocery delivery worker who ended up at the wrong address. Officials in Davie, a town owned by 26 miles north, about 26 miles north of Miami, announced Friday that charges would not be recommended against the gunman Antonio Cacciavale, 43, because his actions were justified by his fear. Likewise, police said the Instacart driver will not be charged because he acted based on their own assessment of danger when the vehicle, moving erratically, struck a boulder and the shooter's foot. Oh. It's a slightly different circumstance, but if you take all the headlines and account for them, it seems very hypocritical. Investigators said they do not have a video of the incident and thus had to rely on narratives of each side, which each side had its own chronology and facts. Each party appeared justified in their actions based on the circumstances they perceived. Detective Patrick Distincio said in a supplement to the police report on the matter. It wasn't clear if the detective concluded... Fuck, hold on. There's airplanes overhead. It wasn't clear if the detective concluded the shooting was justified based on Florida's controversial stand your ground law, the first in the nation, which states that residents have no duty to retreat before using potentially deadly force to defend life, family, and property. The police report stated that driver Waldis Thomas Jr. and company Diamond Harley Darville were attempting to make a grocery delivery on the evening of April 15, and were talking to the customer's wife on a cell phone for navigation help when the incident took place. After the Honda Civic stopped on Cacciavalli's property next door to the target of the delivery, the home of the Instacart customer Daniel Orta, Cacciavalli's son, came out at his father's behest to tell the pair in the car to stay off the property, according to report. It's not entirely clear what happened next and in what order, but the driver and his companion said the Cacciavalli approached them aggressively, prompting their hasty exit, according to the document. The duo said Cacciavalli had grabbed or otherwise latched onto the vehicle at this point as it was moving, the report said. Cacciavalli's foot was struck by the Civic, according to the police, and Cacciavalli said he opened fire after that in order to prevent more injury and protect his family from the vehicle. The resident said he had aimed his semi-automatic Smith & Wesson handgun at the vehicle's tires in an attempt to disable it as a threat, the report said. He said that he shot at 3 rounds at the vehicle after the vehicle struck him. Police stated he stated that he fired his gun at the vehicle because he has 4 children for his and his children's. He was in fear for his children's safety. For his and his children's safety. Okay, there we go. Sorry. I'm illiterate sometimes. The Civic exited the property and the police found it a few blocks away, stopped on a railroad tracks. The report said there were indications of rounds impact on the car and one tire was flat, it said. Thomas and Darville were clearly shaken, police said, but were otherwise uninjured. The extent of Cacciavalli's foot injuries were not specified by police. The duo said they heard gunfire only after they attempted leave as a result of what they called aggressive behavior from neighbor Cacciavalli. I had seen him pull out a gun, and that's when I said, we gotta go, Darville said. I was scared, and I'm not gonna lie. Someone at Cacciavalli's phone number hung up when contacted by NBC South Florida. Instacart said in a statement it reached out to Thomas and would cooperate with investigators if asked. The safety of the entire Instacart community is incredibly important to us, and we take immediate action when we receive reports of threats or violence made against any members of the Instacart community, it said. The San Francisco-based company, founded in 2012, boosted by venture capital investments, helped establish contemporary grocery delivery that connects gig economy drivers with online customers, similar to Uber's platform that connects drivers with ride seekers. The state attorney for Broward County, Harold Pryor, told NBC South Florida he's requested a review of the case and the Davie Police Department conclusions that charges would not be warranted. On April 13th, a teenager mistook a very similar address in Kansas City, Missouri for the one where he was expected to retrieve a sibling. Police. Oh, this is the Ralph Yarl. To retrieve siblings, police said. An elderly white resident, since the sin charge was assault in the first degree and armed criminal action, opened fire and injured the black teenager. More cases of gunfire over mistaken location, roadways, and vehicles have turned up in the wake of the Missouri shooting of teen Ralph Yarl, helping to renew national conversations on gun and equal justice. I'm starting to realize something now that I'm thinking about it. So all these cases that are springing up about guns or people being shot, pulling up into the wrong places. The realization now is that maybe more people own guns than we think. Gonna go camera focus real quick. Uh-oh. Okay. All right. Bye, T. Well, yep. Let's see where I'm at. We'll do another ad read in like 14 minutes. What? Just now, Xena? Hold up. I gotta address this. Grandson of a white man is shot. This is a little more funny. This is a little more on the funny side, so hopefully. Grandson of white man who shot black teen who rang his doorbell. Well, arguably conflicting stories say he was trying to enter the house, but you know. says he wasn't shocked by news. Clint Ludwig says, damn. Clint Ludwig says, Granddad Andrew Lester has a racist tendency. Brother disputes notion race played in Ralph Yarl shooting. Of course the grandson is going to bitch up. I mean, it's a little funny. I mean, a little funny. Could you imagine, it's like imagine this outside of the whole racially charged, politically charged motivations to try to get this guy convicted, even if it was justice. Imagine you're at a family dinner and you hear, oh man, Grandpa Lester is being charged for shooting a black kid. And your grandson just goes, I'm not surprised. Not a shock. Who would have fucking thought? It's a little funny. It's got all of the vibes to be comedic as hell. Why does this heating element just not go on for a while? When Clint Ludwig learned his grandfather, a white homeowner in Kansas City, had shot a black teenager who rang his doorbell, Ludwig was repulsed but not entirely surprised. The warning signs were there. I wasn't shocked when I heard the news, Ludwig told CNN on Thursday. I believe he holds racist tendencies and beliefs. Which I want to reiterate. Hold on. If historical knowledge serves, there's going to be another in like 3 seconds. I want to reiterate, even if the man had racist tendencies and beliefs, that doesn't mean he inherently shot the guy because he thought just for the sole fact that he was black. I have grandparents who are... Hold on, I hear another jet coming in soon. I have grandparents. They are hilarious. They claim to want to be not racist. And I believe they have very concerted, strong efforts. But there's a way they talk about people. A certain kind of people. That is uproariously funny when you actually consider what they say. There it is. Here it is. It's coming from that way. It's either going to be shooting over there, or it's going to be coming from there to like over here. But Ludwig's older brother, Daniel, reportedly disputed the notion that race played a role when their grandfather, 84-year-old... Yeah, this is just a news title. Lester, who was initially detained and then released hours after the shooting, has now been charged with 2 felonies. On Wednesday, Lester pleaded not guilty to the charges on the assault in the first degree and armed criminal action. He's out on a $200,000 bond and is due back in court June 1st. Ralph, 16, went to the wrong address to pick up his siblings. It was a 115th Street instead of 115th Terrace. After ringing Lester's doorbell, Ralph was shot in the head and arm. Lester told police he did not exchange words with the teen before he fired at him, though he through a locked glass door, according to a probable cause document obtained by CNN. The homeowner said that he thought Ralph was trying to break into his home and he was scared to death due to the boy's size. How tall is Ralph Yarl? I was like 6 foot tall whenever I was... So I was 6 foot tall and like 300 pounds plus at 16, going to 18. I would have been intimidating as fuck if I was dressed up in all black. Especially in the dark. Ralph's aunt told CNN her nephew is less than 6 feet tall and probably under 170 pounds. We should get a measurement on that. We should get a proper measurement on Ralph Yarl. Lester's attorney, Steve Solomon, I keep wanting to call him Solomon, has not responded to requests for comment. When CNN visited his Kansas City office on Thursday, his secretary said the attorney was unavailable to speak. The incident was one of several recent cases involving young people shot or killed after mistakenly going to the wrong house, the wrong driveway, or the wrong car. Ralph has been released from a hospital, but the high school-based clarinetist faces a long road to recover, his family said. Daniel Ludwig doesn't think his father would have opened fire at Ralph not gone for the door. Had Ralph not gone for the door, the older sibling told Kansas City Star. And I want to be clear here. This does not say Ralph did anything wrong. The perceptions of Lester and the perceptions of Ralph can be equally true, and Lester have not done anything wrong, and Ralph not done anything wrong. Gone for the door just is simply a turn of phrase. Maybe Daniel Ludwig doesn't think it's a turn of phrase. Maybe he thinks Ralph did something wrong. But if Daniel ends up watching this at any way, shape, or form, any news coverage about his father or his grandfather, Ralph may not have done anything wrong, and so did Lester. This could equally have been a bad situation for everyone involved. Lester told police he fired immediately after answering the doorbell when he saw Ralph pulling on the exterior door handle, according to the probable cause document obtained by CNN. Ralph said he never pulled on the door. He rang the doorbell and waited a while before a man eventually opened the door and immediately shot him in the head, the document states. While the teenager was still on the ground, the gunman then fired again, shooting him in the arm, Ralph told police. While the Ludwig brothers have different views about their grandfather, both say the shooting was unfortunate. Well, alright, Daniel. Alright. It's just sad. I wish it didn't happen, Daniel Ludwig told the Star. It seems like a bunch of mistakes in a row that resulted in a tragedy. I mean, a lot of mistakes all the way around, unfortunately. Daniel Ludwig declined to comment when reached by CNN. His younger brother said he supports the wounded teen and criticizes his grandfather's actions. I was disgusted. I thought it was terrible. We, myself and my family, stand with Ralph Yarl in seeking justice, Clint Ludwig said. This is a horrible tragedy that never should have happened. When asked why he decided to speak out against his grandfather, he replied, "It is the right thing to do." It may be. Maybe. Too often in the U.S., the younger brother said, people get away with killing unarmed innocent black people. People need to speak out, he said, and not make excuses for this kind of behavior and this violence. So, because it happens more often than not, even if it was justified, it was wrong. It's the right thing to do to demonize your own grandfather for something that he could be justified in. It's right to demonize your father. It's not possible that you could stand with Ralph Yarl and your grandfather at once. People know how to make... This kind of reminds me of communist China. Willing to turn his own grandfather in. Yep. Sorry for the plane, by the way. I almost get the feeling Clint Ludwig is not actually very close with his grandfather. This feels like what a kid would do if he feels like he doesn't like his grandfather. And I'm not saying he needs to be... Like, if there was a very strong estrangement, it's very justified. This action, this reaction. I don't know their situation, but I would think that Clint Ludwig would not just decide to turn in his grandfather just because he wants to make a political statement. This feels like he's using his father as a sacrifice to make a political statement. Clint Ludwig said he was disturbed by the racial comments made by his grandfather in the past, including about black people. He said his grandfather believed in right-wing conspiracy theories and was influenced by the fear and paranoia stoked by right-wing media, which is often blaring in his living room. I think that stuff really kind of reinforces this negative view of minority groups, Clint Ludwig told CNN. In an interview with New York Times, Daniel Ludwig disputed claims their grandfather supported extreme right-wing views or conspiracy theories, but did not elaborate on the details. These people are not close to him like I am, Daniel Ludwig told the Times in a text message. He also said that his grandfather is literally too nice and spoiled other relatives. I will say for this, I would be much kinder to relatives and people that I know and love than it would be to a random person at my doorstep. Clint Ludwig said that he and Lester drifted apart. Oh my god, is this? During the COVID-19 pandemic, after he challenged some of his grandfather's conspiracy theories, which he said ranged from election denial to conspiracy about the infectious disease expert Dr. Anthony Fauci. He couldn't handle being pushed back on, and at a certain point, we kind of lost touch, Clint Ludwig said. I think it was more of his choice than mine. The video in the player above is from a previous report. As someone who abides in an opposite situation to this, oh fuck, that was almost bad. So I'm in a mildly similar situation as Clint Ludwig. Mildly. Without the estrangement. So, my grandfather and grandmother, who I live with, have opposing views to mine own. I am considerably more right-leaning than they are, more conservative than they are, maybe a little more liberal in some areas than they are. Though we have a level of understanding, it might be because I live with them that I've come to these kind of conclusions. But if I were Clint, I would have made an effort. Hold on. Planes. It is well worth making the effort to come to a middle ground with your grandfather, to have some kind of understanding that when you're around them, maybe not talk politics, maybe not talk shop. I value my family above my political opinion. I will maybe argue a little bit of it with them if they want to argue, maybe some here and there. And even if they want to say that I don't want to talk about something because I'm on a back foot or whatever, while I will say I have a pride with my opinion, and that I wish I could fight back a little bit on it and say, no, that's not the case. I just don't want to fight. It hurts my pride a little bit. I can accept the damage to the pride, because I value being with my grandfather and grandmother more than I do being right or wrong against them in a political manner. If my grandfather, who would not ever be in this situation, he would sooner be killed by an aggressor than taking action against the aggressor. If he ever took similar actions with a race group that he has said maybe unfavorable comments to, I would not throw him to the wolves that would paint him as a demon. CNN, MSNBC, other groups would paint Andrew Lester as a demon for what he did to Jarl, rather than just acknowledge the fact that maybe Jarl and Lester ended up in a very unfortunate situation, and that maybe, just maybe, both were in the right in an unfortunate situation. And Clint Ludwig is complicit in this by demonizing his own grandfather for political disagreements on COVID-19 and election integrity. He would rather throw his grandfather to the wolves because his grandfather decided to maybe not talk so much, because his grandfather had a certain set of views. Clint, if you ever hear this, talk to your grandfather. It is worth talking to your grandfather to get his side, to get his opinion, to maybe restore some idea of what you think you know of him. There's always a middle ground. Grandparents are not too unmoving to budge in a political opinion. Mine are firm in their stance, but I can live with it. I can understand it. They have lived their lives and they have had their experiences. I do not condemn them for their political opinions. Do not condemn your own. Unless he is proven to be a criminal by your experiences in actions that he's committed in the past that have not been reported, unless there's something we don't know, do not condemn your own grandfather. Sorry. I got a little firmly heated there. I thought this story was going to be a little fun, a little fancy. I picked this because I thought it was going to be funny to read. I didn't think I was going to get so heated about it. This strikes a little close to me. I hate what happened to Jarl. If Ralph could have had any other circumstance, I would wish any other circumstance where he lived and didn't get hurt. However, we have to acknowledge the current reality that exists in that he got shot. Don't talk to your grandson, he might turn around and snitch if you say anything incriminating. I want more than anything. And in all of these circumstances where a grandson or father and son or parents and siblings and parents and children, siblings against siblings, I want nothing more than a reconciliation and coming together where they find the differences between themselves and come to a realization that maybe they're closer than they think, and maybe all the differences are not so strong. I hate families being torn apart because of politics. I resent the idea. If this is not what Clint meant, that he was using his father as grandfather, if this isn't meant to be a political statement or a policy stance that he's willing to use his grandfather for, then I'll stand corrected. However, if that is what's being done, Clint deserves a reckoning. If he's going to use his grandfather, a potentially innocent individual, as a stepping stone and a sacrifice to martyr at his political ideas. I'm not saying they talk about the criminal matters. I want them to talk. Like, my idea is Clint talks to his grandfather and tries to come to a middle ground, some kind of reconciliation. I don't want the grandfather to talk about his criminal case in a way that could help incriminate him. Of course not. Don't sacrifice your own criminal defense to a grandson. I hate people landing themselves in prison by speaking too openly about pending criminal matters. That's not something I want to see. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying just a communication. Just a reach out to his grandson, or his grandson reach out to him. Maybe remend the broken bonds. I hate seeing families broken apart. Mine has a tenuous relationship at best. In many places. I hate seeing it in others. So, this situation speaks to me in a way that I didn't think would happen, as evident by my roaring about Clint here. But you know what won't tear your family apart? Alright, that's a bad way to alright, whatever. The Dragon's Treasure. A haven for anime and tea lovers. You can use code Layman at Dragon's Treasure for 10% off of all the purchases that you can make. 10% off of Ingenuity Tea Strainer, the kettle, the Butterscotch Holiday Tea, Sebastian's Morning Earl Grey, flavor of vanilla cream. It's all good tea. It's all very, very good tea. I've used the kettle and the strainer, and I can say I've had nothing but good tea experiences out of them. The kettle keeps your tea hot, or your water very hot, very long, for the temperature that you design for it, or designate. It's actually very useful for boiling noodles. This is boiling temperature. You pour this into noodles, you can make fast noodles. Ingenuitive use. The Ingenuity teapot has a very good strainer system. It's like a fine mesh. It's almost like a permeable layer. That only semi-permeable layer that lets water through and nothing else. It's very good for straining the tea. It allows your tea to brewed, and then you can pour it out very easily. It's very worth it. I got this Velocity Maker, which is very useful. I'm not too fan of the whole system. I'm probably going to get a semi-permeable solution or semi-permeable layer filter to put around the actual like cage of it, so that way I can stop getting the graininess of the drink that I get out of it. But remember, code Layman for 10% off at purchase from the Dragon's Treasure. You can find the link in the description if you're very curious about how to get some of this tea. It upsets me, though. This very much upsets me. My fun topic was not very fun at all. Okay, preview. Yeah, I could probably cover a couple more. I think 2 hours is good enough. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe. Here's a fun story. Disneyland animatronic dragon burst into flame during Phantasmic show. No injuries reported. The massive animatronic dragon featured in Disneyland's Phantasmic show became engulfed in flame during a live performance Saturday night. Beyond Bath bankruptcy, here's what customers need to know. Rip. No injuries. The dragon's head started to glow, and I see fire and a kind of smoke coming out of it. Park goer Elaine Gilmer, who said she has seen the show over 100 times, told ABC News. It was like, oh, they added new stuff, and they added new stuff because that didn't happen like that before. However, Gilmer's daughter Elisa began to realize that the fire from the dragon's mouth appeared to spread to the body of the 45-foot creature. We saw a small explosion coming out of the head, and then all of a sudden, the whole dragon was just engulfed in flame. And then, all of a sudden, the workers started coming around, escorting everybody out for safety, Elaine said. Videos of the incident quickly circulated on social media. All cast members were safely evacuated from Tom Sawyer Island, a Disneyland official said in a statement. Due to the smoke and wind, attractions near the island were safely evacuated of any guests, and the cause of the fire remains under investigation at this time. No injuries reported, a spokesperson from Anaheim Fire Department said. One witness told ABC7 that after the fire started, the area around Frontierland was evacuated, but the rest of the park remained open. Videos of the incident show guests watching and recording the show's unplanned conclusion, while a loudspeaker informs them that the performance cannot continue due to unforeseen circumstances. The live Phantasmic show uses water and fire effects to tell the story of Mickey Mouse as the Sorcerer's Apprentice, interspersed with clips from the Disney's movie. Disneyland describes the show as daring heroes and epic villains do battle on a grand scale in the incredible nighttime show starring Mickey Mouse. The fire cut off the show as it neared its conclusion. Recently refurbished, the show typically concludes with fireworks and visit from a steamboat full of dancing Disney characters and fireworks. We are temporarily suspending fire effects similar to those used in Disney Parks Phantasmic at selected shows, and and entertainment experiences globally out of an abundance of caution following the phantasmic prop fire at Disneyland Park. Disneyland officials said the continued safety of our cast and guests are of utmost importance. Walt Disney Company is the parent corporation of the station. Is this the Reedy Creek one, Disneyland? Because it'd be kind of funny. I move around too much. I'm getting lightheaded. Or wiggled and breathed and whatnot. Whew. Anaheim fire. Californian Disneyland. Oh, okay. And I think the last thing on the docket for today will be the short story. NAACP files lawsuit after Mississippi governor signs legislation expanding state control over Jackson's judicial system and policing. The NAACP filed a lawsuit to challenge new legislation signed by Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves that expands the state's law enforcement reach in the city of Jackson and implements major changes to its judicial system. Last Friday, represent a state takeover of Jackson and strip residents of their right to democratically elect leaders, the NAACP said in a statement. There's no democratic process, not in a lot of places. One of the laws, SB 2443 or 2343, will expand state-controlled Capitol Police jurisdiction from its current boundaries around state buildings to a substantially larger portion of the city. The other HB 1020 will establish a new court system within the boundaries of the state-created district. The legislation will strengthen public safety in Mississippi's capital city amid a spike in crime, Reeves said in a statement. The Capitol Police police officers will provide additional bandwidth for Jackson's officers to patrol other parts of the city. This legislation won't solve the entire problem, but it will stop one shooting if we can respond to one more 911 call. Then we're one step closer to a better Jackson, Reeves said. Critics have strongly opposed the two bills as they went through the state legislature, saying such changes would put mostly white conservative state officials in control over much of a Democratic city where more than 80% of the residents are black. Jackson Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba has previously called the legislation to create an unelected court system an attack on black leadership. NAACP officials say the state can instead do more elsewhere to alleviate problems in Jackson. If elected officials in Mississippi want to help address the results of their own negligence and improve the lives of Jackson's residents, maybe they should start with completing improvements to Jackson's water system, not undermining the constitutional rights of their citizens, NAACP and President and CEO Derek Johnson said in a statement. The new court system established will be within the boundaries of a state-created district known as the Capitol Complex Improvement District, an area that creates the state capitol building, downtown Jackson State University, and nearby neighborhoods and businesses. That includes state capitol building, downtown Jackson State University, and nearby. Yep. That judge will be appointed, not elected, by the Republican State Chief Justice, with prosecuting attorneys appointed by the Republican State Attorney General to help with low-level cases. Republican lawmakers who push the legislation say it needs to address huge court backlogs and to stem violence that spiked in the city in recent years, much to the disagreement of the law's critics. The law is representing a disturbing regression and rolling back of decades of progress by stripping Jackson residents of their fundamental right to democratically elected leaders, undermining the authority of those who have elected, and severely restricted their First Amendment right to freedom of speech. The former U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder, who was senior counsel at the law firm that filed the NAACP's suit. That's kind of up to interpretation, though. Is this the system that, Missouri, was it? Mississippi. Did the Mississippi system design itself in a way that this is permissible or not permissible? Not to authorize. This is 34 pages. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. Section 1, the Chief Justice. Enact to authorize 4 temporary special circuit judges for 7th Circuit Court District to be appointed by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, to authorize the Public Defender of the 7th Circuit Court to appoint 3 full-time assistants. This is weird. Section 1, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court shall appoint 4 temporary special court justices. Section 2, Section 3. Attorney General shall designate 2 attorneys to serve as prosecuting attorneys for any cause of action. The Administrative Office of Courts, in consultation with Chief Justice with the Mississippi Supreme Court, shall appoint a clerk for Capital Complex Improvement District, CCID. I cannot be bothered for this. Should have someone come on and explain it to me like I'm retarded. Mississippi Constitution. Bill of Rights. Section 5. No, Article 4 or Article 3. Bill of Rights. Alright, sections. Government originating in the people, regulation of government, right to alter secession prohibited. Citizens of state, subordinate of military, civil control, civil power, treason. Alright, section 12. And this all the way through 32, right? Article. The right to bear arms, the right to hunt, peaceful assembly, right to petition government, freedom of speech, press, libel, due process, right to hunt, fish, and harvest wildlife, that's 12A. Due process, slavery, involuntary solitude, servitude prohibited. Punishment for crime. Secession should not be prohibited, by the by. That was a right that we established at our founding. That whenever we decide we don't want to be a part of the Union, we could leave. Lincoln undid that, by the by. Ex post facto laws, impairment of contract, taking property for public use, due compensation, taking private property by eminent domain, transfers. This is to others prohibited for 10 years exceptions. This should never happen, eminent domain. Freedom of religion, section 19 was repealed. Specific term of office, writ of habeas corpus, double jeopardy, open courts, remedy for injury, access to courts, rights of accused, grand jury proceedings, victims' rights, constructions of provisions, legislative authority, proceeding by indictment or information, cruel or unusual punishment prohibited, excessive bail prohibited, revocation or denial of bail, imprisonment for debt, trial by jury, construction of enumerated rights. The people of the state have the inherent sole and exclusive right to regulate the internal government and place thereof, and to alter and abolish their constitution and foreign governments whenever they deem it necessary to their safety and happiness, provided such changes be not repugnant to the Constitution of the United States. Right, they cannot secede. Citizens of all persons resident of the state are hereby declared citizens of the state of Mississippi. Military shall be in strict subordination to the civil power. No treason. Right to keep and bear, and the right to keep and bear arms in the defense of his home or property. Defense of his person or property, or in the aid of civil power when thereto legally summoned, shall not be called into question, but the legislature may regulate or forbid carrying concealed weapons. This is just an addendum to that. No, sections 12A, Article 3 of the Constitution was proposed. Laws 2000. This is just a notation. Freedom of speech, due process, slavery, ex post facto, taking property for public use. Freedom of religion, 19 repealed. No person shall be elected or appointed to an office in the state for life or good behavior, but the term of all officers shall be for some period. Writ of habeas corpus, double jeopardy, search and seizure, open courts, remedies, all courts shall be open. Access to courts, no person shall be debarred from prosecuting or defending any civil cause for or against him or herself before any tribunal in the state by him or herself or counsel or both. What did they say ran afoul of the Constitution? If critics who have strongly opposed the bill as they went through the state legislature, saying changes would put mostly elect. I need to go back to the very top. Okay, so distribution of powers, legislative department, judiciary. Okay, Article 6, page 56. I do not see what I'm looking for. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 3 plus Article 6, page. So I think 59? Sections 144. Judiciary. 60, okay. Judicial power of state, additional judges elect. Alright, so I'm looking for election in election in terms of circuit and chancery court judge. Qualifications, eligibility requirement for Supreme Court, composition of Supreme Court, judicial state power. So I think I want to read sections 144 and 153. Justice Court judges, jurisdiction, establishment, and abolishment of inferior courts. $144 and what's that? 153. Okay. Oh wow. The judicial power of the state shall be vested in the Supreme Court and such other courts as provided in this Constitution. And I guess it lays it out, so I'm going to go to section 153. The judges of the circuit and chancery courts shall be elected by the people in a manner at a time to be provided by the legislature, and the judges shall hold their office for a term of 4 years. Okay, so circuit and chancery court districts. The legislature shall divide the state into an appropriate number of circuit court districts and chancery court districts. The legislature shall, by statute, establish certain criteria by which the number of judges in each district shall determine such criteria to be based on population, the number of cases filed, and other appropriate data. Following the 1980 federal decennial census, and following each federal decennial census thereafter, the legislature shall redistrict the circuit and chancery courts district. Should the legislature fail to redistrict the circuit or chancery court district by December 31st of the 5th year following the 1980 federal decennial census, by December 31st of the 5th year following the federal decennial census thereafter, the Supreme Court shall by order redistrict such circuits for chancery or court, any order by the Supreme Court which redistrict in circuit chancery courts. Holy God. Circuit districts shall become effective at a date to be set therein, and shall, without alterations of composition of the districts established in such order, be enacted by the next succeeding session of the legislature. The circuit and chancery court districts established by the legislature prior to the approval of this amendment shall remain in force and effect until such time as they are redistricted under the provisions of the amendment. Ugh. Someone find me a Mississippi attorney so I can ask them questions about this. I need to know. Is this a proper move or is it not proper? So the legislature department, I'm going to go to Article 4 in just a moment. See what it says. Article 4, Legislative Department, composition of legislature, composition of House, Senate, pro tempore Senate. Oath of office, qualifications, ineligibility, member eligibility, power of impeachment, removal from office, person to preside on impeachment proceedings. Qualifications of senator. Immunity of members from arrest for certain crimes, fees, or rewards prohibited. Rules of procedure. Alright, I don't think I can get much more out of this. I tried, but I need to find a Mississippi lawyer or attorney to help me figure out what the fuck's going on. But yeah, if anybody's interested, and anybody who reads or watches this is interested in getting in contact with me about this specific thing, I'd be happy to have you on and talk about it, about the Mississippi Constitution, and if this is proper or improper. I want to say I'm against the state taking precaution or taking these steps to get more power in certain areas. However, I think getting the crime problem in control is a good idea, though I do not disagree with improvements to a watering system. Hopefully this all works out. But yeah, that's the show. I went through a lot of the topics. I got like 1, 2 maybe topics after. Everything else is just laws and code. Remember, if you're watching this, I'll have an interview with Charles Love tomorrow. We need to figure out our time schedule, see if it works. We're going to be talking about his Newton, Massachusetts toxicity of DEI. I'm actually very pleased to have him on. I'm hoping that we'll have a good conversation. It won't be as interviewee as I hope, but hopefully it'll be a very good conversation. And before I wrap up the show, one last time, with code Layman, you can get 10% off. Holy shit, is this gonna lag on me? We will get to my last ad read. With code Layman, you can get 10% off of all of the good stuff you can get at the Dragon's Treasure, a haven for anime and tea lovers. Code Layman will get you 10% off of the Ingenuity, the tea kettle, the tea itself. You'll get 10% off. You have to be a member to get this kind of tea, though. I don't know much about it. Hopefully it'll be brought in the sample pack. I'm not so sure about how I feel about butterscotch, but I'm willing to be proven one way or another how I feel about it. Even if I dislike the flavor, I hope I can appreciate the quality of it. White tea cinnamon, pink peppercorn, marigold, and natural and artificial flavors. It's a white tea. So remember, code Layman for 10% off of your purchase, and you can enjoy the merchandise, the tea wares, and the tea itself at Dragon's Treasure, and you'll be able to get it in like 2-3 days. It'll be great. I promise you'll enjoy it. With that said, that's probably it for the show, at least in the content department. I'm gonna get off that screen. Thank you for anybody who came to watch live. Thank you, Graham Final Liaison 5. It was a pleasure to see you come into the chat. I get what you mean, though. The grandfather is in a bad spot, and an even worse spot now that the grandson has decided he wants to speak out against his grandfather for seemingly political differences. It's a bad thing. It's a bad state. I resent it incredibly. Hopefully everything will turn out well. Hopefully justice will be served. Proper justice, and not just the justice that the mob demands for. Hold on, I'm being distracted by nothing. If you appreciated the show, appreciated the content that you saw, even my angry rant at the grandson earlier, you can find me on YouTube, local Rumble, and Twitter with all the links in the below. I appreciate your support and appreciate anybody who hasn't supported yet but will later. And even if you don't, I appreciate the views. I appreciate you watching and listening to my inane ramblings. My opinion, I gotta get out of this mindset, but I'm always comparing my approach to things in comparison to others. And I'm probably doing it for perspective, but maybe because I'm comparing myself to others just to, I don't know, maybe get better. The comparison itself is not the worst, but if I start feeling bad because of it, that's probably the problem. I'm hoping that my opinions form better. I feel like my stance on things have started getting firmer and firmer as I've talked about them. My presentation ability has also gotten a little bit better, I feel. My camera quality, I can't say has improved much at all. But my talking capacity, my ability to communicate is getting better. I have seen this also in the fact that I was able to communicate an idea to a friend the other day effectively after a little bit, quicker than I thought I would, and I got to the conclusion that I meant to. It felt like a thrilling achievement. I'm hoping that you guys can see my improvement as well. And hopefully I will be able to give you guys content that you guys will appreciate. With the Charles Love interview tomorrow, or conversation, hopefully that'll be a lot better of a product. I'll have to go to StreamYard, so not a lot of the creativity that I have, or it won't be as nice as presented as it is now. Because it'll be the StreamYard's approach. Hopefully it'll look good enough on its own. I don't mind the watermark. We'll figure out the time and I'll set up the schedule for it. I also plan on doing that iceberg thing the day after. Maybe. It depends on if I can do all the research for it. I'll have to start researching basically when I get home. And then go to sleep, and then do the interview, do more research, make food, go to work. Maybe not. I'll maybe do it next week. Regardless, thank you for watching. Follow me on my social medias. You can find them in the links below. And once again, thank you for coming to the show. I'm very much appreciated. I'm happy to see you guys, happy to be supported, and happy to be watched. Anybody who comes later or who is here now. With all that said, thank you for coming, and hang loose.